कृपामयित्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वन्दे नमस्ते शरणागतम्। भजामि राधां वरविन्दनेत्रं स्मरामि राधां मधुरस्मिताश्रयं वदामि राधां करुणाभराद्र ततो नमस्ते गतिर्नका आदेवी काकुरगदगदयद्वाचा जाज त्वयिवास्मि जीवामि तया विना इति विज्ञायते राधे तं नयामि चरणं ते। वंशी विभूषितकरार्णवनीरदाभत् पीताम्बरावरुणबिम्बफलादृष्टा पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखा अरविन्दनेत्रा कृष्णापरं तत्त्वं किमपि अहं न जानामि। न विदाचेरज्जन्मजनकानिकं विमोहनजाजवरं सर्वजनकामं वरवधूं मे सदा काले काले प्रमथपति न विधिचरी जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयनपतवतु। जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयनपतगामी भवतु। आदेवी काकुवरगदगदयद्वाचा जाचनी भक्तिभुवि दण्डवदुर्भुटावर्ते अस्य कुशादसजनस्य निर्विकीर्गणे अंगस्यमन्विषटामन्दे कृतेन्द्रीवरं जट्टं याचुकुलरुचिषं पट्टं वरस्वश्रिया चिन्तारण्यवासनिर्वसुद्धामनिदामुदरं राधास्कन्दनिवेशितचलोभुजं धैर्यं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 नित्यलीला वैष्णव विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर एवं नित्यलीला वैष्णव विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर से श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री महाराज के वचन करोमि अनंतवती साष्टांग दंडवत करता हूँ। तत्पश्चात नित्यलीला वैष्णव विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर से श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज
It's very auspicious day today.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki yaad.
It's Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Avirbhav Tithi today. It's a very auspicious day today. He's the Bhagirathi, he's called the Bhagirathi. Bhagirath of Shuddha Bhakti. His convictions, his talks of Shuddha Bhakti.
समुद्र की तरफ
It's like Bhagirath who got Ganga from the spiritual world into the material world, and then from Gangotri, and then the Ganga flows down towards this ocean. Similarly, Bhaktivinoda Thakur got the Ganga of the Shuddh Bhakti for us.
जिस प्रकार शंख नाद के द्वारा समस्त प्रकार अशुभ
when you blow the shank, all the inauspicious things are just left out, thrown away. When you blow the shank, all the inauspicious things just go away. The shank is really, really priya, loved by Vishnu. Vishnu is always carrying it in his hands. This even indicates the vijay or the victory. Victory. It indicates the victory. Victory of Vidya over avidya. We are. What do you understand by victory? We are all conditioned souls, and we are under the three modes of material nature. If you take the shelter of God or Vishnu, then we have victory over the material world. Or the modes of material nature. So this signifies victory over the material nature. With the fragrance of the milan of the Radha and Krishna. The Radha and Krishna, the fragrance of the meeting of Radha and Krishna. This is indicated by the shank. In our Veds and Shastras, everything which is indicated has two avenues. One is the material or the scientific approach towards things, looking at it, and the other is the spiritual aspect of it. One is the material aspect and one is the spiritual aspect. So the scientific aspect is that when you blow out the conch or the shank, all the insects and all the inauspicious things, or the things which you don't like in the material world, they just vanish. And as far as the spiritual aspect of it goes, it talks about Radha and Krishna's milan. So in Brahma Muhurat, one should always play the shank. In Bengal, in the morning, everybody blows the shank. So it's at the dawn. At the dawn, there is shankha. You'll always have shankha in the Bengal. Most of the world, in the northern India, they buy the shank and they put it in the temple and their houses and never blow it. They're not able to even blow it. But in Bengal, you will find everybody blowing the shank. In all the homes, you will have shank dhwani in the morning. The sound of shank. It indicates auspiciousness. This is called a mangal dhwani, or auspicious sound. The gong used to be blown. The shank used to be blown even at the beginning of war. That was another time at which it used to be blown. It's like the Ganga flows from Gangotri till the ocean unstopped. In Govind Lila Amrit and Krishna Bhavana Amrit, whenever it's written that when Radha and Krishna meet, there's the fragrances of both of their bodies. When it meets, it's like its fragrance is also indicated by the shank. If we follow the instructions of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it's the total essence of all the instructions for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. He is the Mool Pravartak, or the Mool preacher, or the base. He's the pillar of the instructions for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. When all the parikars of Mahaprabhu, like all the Goswamis, they became Prakat, they were not there. There was a long gap for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. That was a period of darkness for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, when they did not have any preacher or any acharya. And then after a gap, then there was a Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur who came. So what was this darkness? The darkness was that people did not know anything about the vichar or the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they did not follow. So there was a long gap, and the people did not follow the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Bengal, you have a lot of people who are Sahajiyas. Sahajiyas. They say that you can keep doing Harinam and then you keep eating as much as you want, and non-veg, liquor, meat, everything. Whatever you feel like doing, you do. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur then said, no, it's the way what you eat, you start thinking in the same way. So he instructed that they do not have to have a non-vegetarian or a liquor. So it's very important to eat the right food, to think right. As what you eat, as what you eat, your mind also starts thinking this.
और उसके 35 दिन के बाद वो मन में इफेक्ट होता है, मन तैयार होता है। रस रक्त मज्जा आदि होकर के अंत में मन तैयार। यदि आप तामसिक आहार करें, भोजन करें, तामसिक मन हो जाता है।
If you have tamasic food, then you get tamasic mind. So it's very important to eat the right food. Bhaktivinoda Thakur established the Nam Hut. In his biography, he's not he's Kamal Manjari of Radha Krishna Nitya Leela. He's not an ordinary person. And any acharya, he did not project his Nitya Roop to anybody, Nitya form to anybody. I did not talk about it, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur talked about his Nitya form as Kamal Manjari. He said that he is Kamal Manjari, and his dress and he said his Kamal Manjari and his dress is full of the starry dresses he wears, and then his work is to have Kapoor Seva to Radha and Krishna. Very few people know about these Nitya forms of all Acharyas, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he told his form, he told his Nitya form, he openly told his Nitya form. He is not sadhar, he is not ordinary person. In Narvat Leela, he showed himself as district magistrate, and he was in the when the Britishers ruled us, he was a very, very powerful and a very famous district magistrate. That time India was ruled by the British. They were very strict. There were a lot of restrictions, and there were a very, very strong law. And people never used to give tax, and they had to take tax from the people. And this would take over to England, all the money and the taxes. If you read history, the Britishers, they went around the whole of the world, ruling the areas where they would get where they would get food. And if you read the history, you'll find that the Britishers ruled almost all many countries which belong to either the west or the eastern side of the world. It's written that in the areas which were covered by the British, there was no sunset, because they covered almost the whole of the world in various areas and whole of the world, the western side and the eastern side both.
छोटा देश है,
It's a very small nation. Talking about England, England is a very small nation. It doesn't have much of it's a farm produce or grains, and it's a small nation which ruled the whole world. That time Bengal was ruled by the British. At the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. When I used to read history while I was a child, I used to feel surprised, I used to feel bad, and I used to have a lot of emotions against them. I used to feel strongly against them. They would burn homes, treat women in a very rude way. So, he was a district magistrate during the time of the Britishers. So materially, he was very highly placed, and of course, he was the in his Nritya form, he was the Kamal Manjari of Radha and Krishna. There was this one of these yogis or Babas, the way we have nowadays. We are talking about Ram Rahim Baba, who was he said he was God. In Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time, there was this Baba who came out and he said he will he would kill all the Britishers and he would remove the session of British. And because I am God, I am Krishna, so I'll have Ras. And he removed all the Britishers from India. So he put forth himself to all the people as he was Krishna, he was God. And he had some siddhis, he had long hair, and he projected himself as a yogi, having all these powers. And people used to visit him, and people used to be impressed by his outward behavior.
British government, England से भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर के लिए एक भारतीय, ये क्या बात है आप इन्वेस्टिगेशन को?
So the Britishers from London, he got an order that please investigate as to who this person is. He was able to hypnotize even women and impress the women.
भगवान के दाढ़ी नहीं होता है, कुछ नहीं होता। आजकल तो लोग जिसको
Today, it's the people, they are just, the people are ignorant of what is written in the Shastras as the features of God, and conditioned souls, unconditioned souls, liberated souls, Bhagwan. They do not know the features of which have been written in the Shastra as belonging to God. If they know a little bit of Tantra and Mantra, they feel that, the people feel that he's God. God never has a beard. So his name was Vishkishan. Vishkishan gave a challenge to the to the British government. He said, first I'll do Ras, and then by my Sudarshan Chakra, he compared him as things to the Sudarshan Chakra that Krishna had, and he said, with Sudarshan Chakra, I'll kill every British and throw them out of my country. So,
भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर उनसे मिले और भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर कि वो भी पता ही नहीं बोले मैं भगवान भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर से बहुत बढ़कर बोले तुम भगवान नहीं हो सकते.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur interacted with that person. He had a lot of altercation with him, and he told him, look, you cannot be God. Why you're an imposter. It's not a right attitude of yours to be taking women and to be comparing yourself with Krishna, God, and doing Ras Leela as what Krishna did. So he told Bhaktivinoda Thakur that like Krishna did Ras in the Purnima Tithi, so I'll also do Ras. And then the first is that I'll do Ras in the Purnima, and second I'll have the Sudarshan Chakra with me, and I'll kill all the Britishers, all the Videshis who are there, and I'll throw them out of the country. He took the British army. Bhaktivinoda Thakur took the British army, and he caught him. And because he had Riddhi Siddhis, so he would do some, he would, once he would turn his head, he would throw out with his hand, and all the flames and fire would come up. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a Siddha Mahapurush. He got rid of his hair. He got rid of his hair, which were hot, and his arm, and his body did not burn. And he slapped him. So he slapped him. Vish Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur cut his hair. He cut his hair with his own hands. All the other people, the British people, the British soldiers, they ran away, thinking that they would be affected by the fire of this. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur cut his hair and threw his hair away and put him in the jail. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was given totally power by the British government to do whatever he wanted to do with that person. So he caught him and put him in jail and let him stay for years inside. when he had Bhaktivinoda Thakur was there, he was like the DM and he had to give the decision, the law. It's like Ram Rahim nowadays, that Baba who's there inside the jail now. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also had to give a decision in the court. So when he had to leave for giving a decision in the court, he had such a stomach ache because that person who was there in the Vish Krishna who was there in the prison, he knew all Riddhi Siddhis and he was chanting the mantras, tantric mantras, to affect all the people who were giving him decisions. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur had such a severe body ache and pain, stomach ache, but still he came over to the court and gave a decision. All these people who are imposters and who have done such harm to the people, and so many the politicians in India who've done such wrong to the nation and to the people, taken the money of other people and treated the women with raped people, killed, murders. In our country it's just so it was in India, that person just is given this imprisonment for a period of years. They are not given the difficult imprisonment. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he arranged difficult imprisonment for that Vish Krishna. There he had to stay in the prison and also do very, very difficult labor every day. So it is very difficult for him to survive. The people who are out of the prison, they do so much of labor to get their to get 2 rotis in the evening, to make their meal, they earn their meal with such difficulty. Whereas the person who's inside, like Ram Rahim Baba, who's put in bars nowadays for his dera, these people stay in the imprisonment and they just stay there doing no work. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he arranged for Vish Krishna such difficult imprisonment that he had to do difficult labor and so stay indoors in imprisonment. There are some countries where there are people who are such antisocials are hung in public. Vish Krishna, he stayed in the prison for 40 days and then he died. He was DM, but he used to do 1 lakh Harinam every day. And then he used to go, after doing his work, he used to go to each villages around and give pracha. He used to go to many villages after he used to do give the prachar of doing Shuddha Harinam. There were a lot of Sampradayas in Bengal at that time. So he had to uproot all of them by giving Harinam to people and showing the importance of doing Shuddha Nam. Go from village to village telling people what is like Shuddha Dhara of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Telling the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, asking them to do Shuddha Nam. Shuddha Nam.
के समय चित्त होकर के कीर्तन आदि करते और भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर महाराज पर प्रचार आदि करते।
All the people who gather in the evening and do kirtan. Once Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to have he used to travel from village to village. He would ride a horse and go from village to village, preaching the Shuddha Naam to people. And once he was riding back, he was returning from one of the villages. He was returning from one of the villages, and there was a jungle in between, and there was just a small way through which he was coming back home. It was pitch dark in the night, and it was just he was not able to see the way. He was just able to see owls and the kites and the cars. It is pitch dark, he is not able to see the way. It was pitch dark and it was absolute silence, and he could just hear the hoof, the sound of horses' hoofs. And about 100 meters far off, he could hear the sound of a woman. He said, as if somebody was crying. There was a woman who was crying. And so Bhaktivinoda Thakur went towards him, and when he saw a woman who was sitting under the tree and crying. He asked us, "Who are you? You are here at about 12 o'clock in the night, and why are you crying?" She came and told us, Maya Devi gave the darshan to him and said that I am Maya Devi because you are promoting the Shuddha Naam, so I am actually crying and I am showing. And this is because my effect now on people is much less. So Maya Devi gave darshan to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's my work to be keeping the people under illusion, but you have preached the Harinam, and everybody has started doing the Shuddha Harinam, and my effect over people has been reduced. So I'm feeling bad, and that's why I'm crying. The more one does Shuddha Naam, the more Maya stays away from people. So she told Maya Bhaktivinoda Thakur that please do not give do not preach the Harinam. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur told Maya Devi that no, that's not possible for me. I have to preach the glories of the Shuddha Naam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So in his biography he has written how he established the Shuddha Naam. the Nam Hut and preached the glories of the Shuddha Nam. Talked about the ahar of people, or the food, to be stopping all bad food habits, to stop eating liquor, non-vegetarian food. The people else, Bhaktivinoda Thakur went around and established the Nam Hut. He went to different villages and promoted the Shuddha Nam. So all the smart Brahmins and the up Sampradayas, they came to realize that their effect was dwindling in the whole of the area. So all these people, they came against Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And then to continue this Nam Hut, promoted the Krishna, the establishment of Krishna Sansara, saying that everybody, every household, every Indian family should have Krishna as the center of their homes, because it's his world, it's his world, it's Krishna's world, it's not your world. Everybody, everything belongs to Krishna. The sar of the whole, the sar of the whole Ved and Shastras is that we should have Krishna. So Krishna should be there in each home. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He wrote a lot of granths, almost 100, more than 400 granths he wrote. So many granths have not been written by any of the acharyas. So he's written almost 400 granths. We write one granth, we have spent so much energy writing it. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote so many granths, he wrote so many prayers. So these are unconditioned souls, liberated souls who have such energies, who do so much in the world. It's because of their unconditioned self and uncontrolled, innumerable, too much of energies they have. This is two important things that he did, I'll tell you. One is, of course, he brought forth Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Nine Manjari. Nine Manjari he brought forth into this world. Nine Manjari, that is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Because if we need to do prachar, then we need to have people who belong to the same category or the same. Radhaji came and told Kamal Manjari, that is Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that you keep doing the prachar of the Shuddha Naam, and I'll send you my own Nine Manjari. I'll send you my Nine Manjari to carry forth the process of Shuddha Naam. And the second was, of course, the Yog Peeth, the Prakriti of the Yog Peeth. And they made cremation ground on. Muslims had occupied that area earlier and converted it into a cremation ground. But then this was brought forth by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Muslims, when they came, they all covered all the areas of the Hindus' temples, and Mayapur was called Miyapur. When he retired from the magistrate, when he retired from the DM post, he said, "Let me go over to and do the bhajan." I'll go over to an isolated place in Vrindavan and do bhajan. When Bhaktivinoda Thakur retired, he just thought about it, that he'll go to a place. He was on his way to. He went over to one of the temples. He was going over to the Vrindavan, and he went over to a temple in Bengal which is called Tarakeshwar. So he went over to Tarakeshwar, and he was Shiv gave him darshan and told him, "Look, you are a liberated soul. Who you are? You've come here to propagate the name, plus to find out to establish the Gaur Dham or the Yog Peeth. You have to." She said, for you, the work which has been given by Krishna is go back to Navdeep. Don't go to Vrindavan. You go back and preach the glories of the Shuddha Naam and to bring forth, to establish the Yog Peeth. People had actually forgotten which is the Yog Peeth at that time. So Shiv gave him darshan and told him that you go back and do these two things for you. He returned from Tarakeshwar.
एक रात मैं भी वहीं पर था, तो उसे पाताल शिव कहते हैं। तो पानी डालने से जैसे आपकी कोई कामना है ना, इच्छा है, या हमारी एक काम सिद्धि होती है, तो पानी डालने से वो एक शब्द है, और पानी में नहीं चलता। यदि आप में वो सिद्धि नहीं होगा, तो पानी ऊपर बाहर आएगा। मैंने देखा, मैंने इस कथा सुना था, किंतु मैं देखने को मेरा जो होता है, एक वास्तव है क्या, सच है क्या? रात 12
That's a very big temple of Shiv. It's called as Patal Shiv. And people who have want their desires to be fulfilled and fulfilled. And Maharaj is saying that when I was like I was young, I went to the temple, and I also there's a shivling there, like we have here in Kopishwar Mahadev. The same shivling, a similar shivling. The people put water over him, over the shivling, and if the water goes down, and there's a gurgling sound, that means Shiv has actually accepted it, and the thing and the desire will be fulfilled. So Maharaj is saying that when I was young, I also went over to the temple. Of course, I did not have any desires, material desires to be fulfilled, but then I went and put the water on the shivling, and there was a gurgling sound, and it went in. So I also went and I went and saw, and then after that time I did not know that Bhaktivinoda Thakur had stayed in the temple for a night, and Shivji had given darshan to him and told him in person that you have to go and establish the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when I read the life story of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and heard from our Gurudevs and Acharyas, then I came to know that Bhaktivinoda Thakur had visited that temple. That's called Tarakeshwar. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was doing Harinam. In his house in Godram, he was doing Harinam in the night, loudly at night. This across the Ganga, he saw a place, and it's the same place in Mayapur where we have your beach nowadays. There he saw one light, and when he saw, and there was a lot of light over there, it was very illuminated, and he could see the Panch Tattva doing Harinam and doing Kirtan along with a lot of the Panch Tattva with a lot of bhakti. They were all doing Mridanga and Kartal, and he was doing, and he could. Where we see in Godram, his house, there he was there and doing Harinam on his roof. And in the morning when he went, and he could see only Tulsi. He could just see that there was this Tulsi growing in that particular area.
ये तुलसी के पौधे के आप क्यों यहाँ पर लगाते हो, खेती क्यों करते हो? कहते हिंदू लोग करते हैं, तुलसी पूजा हिंदू लोग करते हैं, मुसलमान तो नहीं करते। हिंदू लोग तुलसी के पौधा लगाते हैं, बोते हैं ठाकुर जी की सेवा के लिए।
Muslims do not do anything with the tulsi, but why? You've got Muslims, you're a Muslim. Thakur told that person that, look, you're a Muslim, you don't do anything with that in tulsi. Why have you grown this tulsi plant over here? That Muslim told him that this place only grows tulsi. We put so many seeds of different plants, but it never grows. It's only tulsi which grows here. And there was a cremation ground nearby. He said, this is cremation ground, we don't grow anything. But this area of 25 meters around, is here only tulsi grows, nothing else grows. He brought the map from the collection that the Britishers had.
गंगा से कितने दूर कितना है और चारों तरफ शास्त्र के अनुसार और नवद्वीप से जो प्राचीन 500 साल करीब 300 साल पहले वो नवद्वीप के जो है मैप मंगाया लंदन से
The Britishers had taken the old maps of India. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was DM, so he asked the Britishers, he requested them to send the map, which was there, which is the old 500 years ago map. He got the maps, and then he
और उसके भक्तियों का नाम जप करके देखा कि वास्तव में यही तुलसी जो बगीचा है यही महाप्रभु के जन्म स्थान
and then he saw that this is the place.
महापुरुष के द्वारा प्रतिष्ठित करना है इसलिए भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर वृंदावन से
So in Vrindavan he asked Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj.
जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जिसकी उम्र हो गया 144 साल
He was on 144 years. He was brought by his own sevaks there.
उनके सेवक टोपी में बैठे और जगन्नाथ दास बाबा महाराज जब वही स्थान पर आए और टोपी से पूछ गए और वो दंड नृत्य होकर के कहने लगे ये हमारे गोष्ठ जन्म किंतु महापुरुष के द्वारा स्थापित होने से लोग उसके मान्य देते सम्मान देते विश्वास इसलिए भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर जगन्नाथ दास को समझे किंतु आज तो कब्जा किसमें है कब्जा किसने करके मुसलमान मैंने कहा जिसके लट्ठे उस पर तो बैठ अभी उससे कैसे इस कार्य के भार जो है भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर अत्यंत प्रभुपाद को और प्रभुपाद ने इस कार्य के भार विणु बिहारी ब्रह्मचारी वास्तव में देखा जाता है ये गुणसूत्र के जन्म बेटा किसके द्वारा प्रतिष्ठित एक तो भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर भक्तिचंद्र प्रभुपाद और विनोद बिहारी ब्रह्मचारी प्रभुपाद का विनोद बिहारी ब्रह्मचारी ये प्रभुपाद के सारे स्टेट को देखते
This Vinod Bihari, that is Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Param Gurudev, he used to see all the estate of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and the state of Navdeep. And then it was, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was helped by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. So, and Param Gurudev also had to tackle the Muslims in a very harsh way, so that they would give the taxes. The Muslims also did not give the taxes. So he removed the cremation ground and he moved all the bones of all the graves and made the whole area by he put in the trees in that particular area. He moved all the graves in the night, and all throughout the night only he removed all the trees and they put forth all the trees, mango trees and kathal ped, jackfruit trees, mango trees and coconut trees in that area. And in the whole there was a lot of noise around that the Hindus have covered all the area in the Muslims area. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur had all this with Bhaktivinoda Bihari. That's Param Gurudev. He sent away all the people, and these people, the Muslims, reported to the police that look, they have taken our land away. But then Bhaktivinoda Bihari came and said, so he said, this is when the police came and asked the Muslims, which is the land that you're talking about. They went and showed that this is our area of cremation ground. And then he said, look at these. Param Gurudev had already planted huge trees in that area. So he said, look, this is not the area which is the area for the Muslim. How can it be a cremation ground? Do you see any grave? Do you see any? These trees have been growing for so many years. So these people are telling lies. And Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. And so the Muslims were beaten and told that, look, why are you telling the wrong things? So all the Muslims were beaten and they ran away. So where we go to Yog Peeth, so this Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, the Yog Peeth. It was there. Gaurdham ka Prakash, Gaurdham Prakash and Gaurnam. Navdeep Dham Parikrama, Navdeep Dham Mahatmya has been written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he did, that is his contribution to the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. Today is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Avirbhav Divdid. So if we would not have been able to know anything about Navdeep Dham. And then Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, they established the mandir of ISKCON. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, if he was not there in this world, then we wouldn't have had any prachar in the whole of the world. And after him, after Swami Maharaj, then our Gurudev, Bhaktivedanta, and Narayana Goswami Maharaj also called him, and they have been Jai Shri Radhe.
Thank you.